growing up with the Army base here, they would practice with all these munitions and things all the time. So one of the constant things growing up as a kid, we always heard explosions and guns, and there would be afternoons where it would just when they were doing maneuvers and things at night from the higher parts of Seaside, you could see the flares, the things that would light up the sky.
The Watershed Institute is a group of scientists, researchers, and educators who are promoting the wise use of water on our lands and protecting natural water sources for people and all the other creatures who live here. The Watershed Institute started very early with scholarships for CSUMB students. We had a big grant that came from the Department of Defense as part of the closure of Fort Ord. We're partners with the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management. And also Burleson is contractor to the Army, which has some of the land that has not been turned over to the BLM yet. So we've been growing native plants for the BLM and now with Burleson for all the land that is currently and in the future going to be part of the Fort Ord National Monument. We're busiest in the rainy season in January, February, and March when we're planting the plants that we've been growing all year to repair damaged habitats. Ice plant was brought in by the Army thinking that this was going to stabilize the dunes. The problem is it totally covers over dunes and plants and stuff like that. So therefore the animals can't live. So it's a real plague.
Native plants are really important to the local habitat. They're so adapted to our climate. Now when we have these drought issues, a lot of our plants can survive. If you have native plants, you don't have to use a lot of extra water to keep them alive. They can survive on what water is naturally available.
Restoration begins with the seed of a native plant being grown in a greenhouse, then planted where restoration is needed. Rainwater rolls down the plant into the aquifer underneath. An aquifer is an underground layer of water-bearing rock. A new native plant is planted next to the old one to continue the restoration process.
Return of the Natives is an outreach organization of the Watershed Institute, and our mission is to bring people closer to nature and nature closer to people through hands-on participation, restoring habitats, and doing environmental education.
The Green Thumbs program is kind of the organized program that's been coming out the longest, and they're groups of developmentally disabled adults, and they come from multiple programs. We also have a program right now called the Ron's Dons, and that's Ron's Docents of Native Species, and those are adult volunteers who want to get their hands dirty. Maybe some of them want to learn more about native plants and the environment. If we don't help people to understand the work, then there's really no point. We wouldn't be able to afford to do the work that we do. So the volunteers really make the work happen.